The Super Mario Bros. Series has always really been a series about Mario that sometimes acknowledges he has a brother. Usually Luigi ended up being relegated to the player 2 character that nobody knew wasn't Mario in the first place. This video is formally a shout out to all the little siblings that are now a part of the Luigi fan club, as growing up, if you were the little sibling in your household, you probably believed Luigi deserved more time in the limelight, and you'd be absolutely correct, might I add. When people think of the big debut of Luigi as the main character in his own game, the first game that comes to mind is probably Luigi's Mansion, and I can't say I blame anyone who would think this. Ignorance is bliss after all, and living in this false reality will keep you in a state of sanity. But once you hide the truth, truth will always be your unbearable burden. So I'm making this video to relieve myself of the burden of truth. I'm here to tell you now that Luigi's Mansion is not the debut of Luigi into the limelight as the main character of his own video game. What lurks in the shadows of Nintendo from the year 1992 is something far more sinister than you could possibly imagine. Something that gave all children of that time nightmares worse than our brains were capable of imagining. Something that still haunts me to this day.
It is the year 1992 and children are enjoying a golden age of Super Nintendo entertainment systems everywhere. Super Mario World was a smash hit that ended up on the shelves of families all across the US. The newest and greatest Mario game to date is on the horizon. Mario is missing. Experience the wonders of traveling the world as Luigi with his trusted steed Yoshi in an attempt to thwart the evil Koopa King and recover the beloved hero from his clutches. Mario is missing. Available everywhere this spring.
Mario is missing. I remember seeing this game for the first time as a kid and getting so excited at the thought of finding a new Mario game that I'd never heard of before. Playing as Luigi at the time was only something I ever did when I played the Super Mario Bros. Games with my older brothers or my grandma, so the thought of playing as Luigi and seeing this admittedly really cool cover art had me itching to start playing. However, once I got home and popped the cartridge into my NES, I had no idea what would be waiting in store for me and the disappointment I would eventually face. The title screen for Mario is Missing arouses no suspicion whatsoever, with the game looking decent enough to pass as a normal Mario game from back then and the music sounding in line with what you came to expect from the series. Now at this point I know what you're thinking. The graphics in this game were ripped directly from Super Mario Galaxy, but what if I told you the graphics were actually ripped from Yoshi's Cookie in Mario Teaches Typing? Mario is Missing is a game where Mario goes missing. It's more like he falls into the depths of hell right before Luigi and Yoshi's eyes, and Yoshi finally receives the justice his kind deserves for all those other times. Wait, not those times. Those times. What anybody who had the chance to play this atrocity quickly realized, however, is that the game was not exactly as it seemed. The game sees Luigi being dropped into a random city in the world and then killing Koopas to find artifacts from these cities. You could talk to NPCs throughout the game map that would drop cryptic hints as to what city you were dropped into, and once you had a decent idea of where you were in the world, you had to open your menu and select the globulator to guide Yoshi to where the city was on the map so you could ride him and talk to Princess Peach, I guess? Where she would then give you a snarky comment and a pamphlet about your city you had to read and answer trivia questions about the artifacts you previously gathered from the Koopas you mercilessly killed. Sound confusing? That's because it is. For a kid attempting to slog through this game, it was a near impossibility to understand what to do or where to go, as the game wasn't exactly great at giving you direction on what the goal to beat the level was. If you somehow figured out everything I just outlined and answered the trivia questions correctly, you were rewarded with a sum of in-game currency that you couldn't spend, and then forced to move on to the next set of trivia questions somewhere else on the map. Once you finally answered all of the trivia questions and returned all of the missing artifacts to their proper information station, you could leave through the blue pipe on the map and be dropped into another random city to begin the process all over again. And after repeating this process over and over again for a full hour and a half, assuming you know what you're doing at this point, and completing all of the cities, you were rewarded with actual gameplay for 5 seconds where you get to fight a Koopa Kid and experience what it's like to play a good Mario game. And oh, you're thinking there has to be something else? Some big climatic ending where you save Mario and team up to fight Bowser or something? Nope, You get to watch a cutscene of Bowser being shot out of a huge cannon into a snowfield where he freezes to death and dies in a matter of seconds. Roll credits. If you ever wondered why Nintendo is so stingy with their IPs, look no further than the software tool works and their incredible work on this timeless classic. With them even going as far as to have the audacity to make this cool cover art for the game and try to persuade you to buy it, completely misleading you into believing that this could be a good game. All in all, Mario is Missing can be chalked up as one of those edutainment third-party Nintendo games that was released throughout the 90s. If I had to pick and choose a few things that I thought were actually good about my experience with the game, I can say that they were the music and the animations. Surprisingly, the animations flashed a bit of life from the design standpoint, with the Koopas sometimes stretching into oblivion upon being jumped on or completely disintegrating altogether, leaving nothing behind but those big eyes that have just witnessed their own eternal banishment from this realm. This was another small thing, but the transition animations where Luigi moves up and down on the map are satisfying in their own way as well, especially as a little kid at the time. I remember just running up and down through the streets just for the fun of it. The Yoshi animation running straight at the player in this clip is just straight nightmare fuel though. The music in this game was actually decent as well, with most of the tracks being remixes of cuts from Super Mario World, with just a little instrumentation from each part of the world from which the song was made. Once you reached Beijing in the game, the music sounded like this. Moscow sounded like this. Which is an absolute banger in my opinion, so on and so forth. Even though Mario is Missing was not the game I expected it to be as a kid, this could have been a much worse experience. Let's not forget these sins of man. Even still though, the message Nintendo sent to children everywhere in 1992 who were craving a good Luigi game was very simple.
Come back in 10 years.